views and opinions expressed in this program are those of the participants and do not necessarily reflect the views of BronxNet or the program underwriters.
Hey everyone, how are you? I'm the Dr. Bob Lee from 107.5 WBLS. Welcome to Open BXRX. We've got a whole lot in store for you. We're going to give it to you like we owe you something. In fact, coming up on today's show, here's what we've got. We'll speak to a local filmmaker about his latest documentary and highlight why he feels it should serve as a vital role for the future of the Bronx. Then we'll hear from the representative of an organization that is impacting so many lives on and off the court. After that, we'll check in with a family physician, an author who will shed light on how cannabis is changing lives. Bobby C is here. He has the latest in the world of sports. And then finally, we'll sit down with the project manager of an organization that is working on an important landscape restoration project in our community. All of this coming up the pipe, headed straight your way. We're wide open. Hey everyone, I'm the Dr. Bob Lee. I'm your host, and you're watching Open, that live interactive program that brings the Bronx and New York City straight to your TV set. You can stay connected to us through social media at BronxNet TV. Leading things off, here we go. Our first guest is a Bronx filmmaker and video producer, co-founder of Bronx Film 48, and the director, producer, and writer of the 1.5 million documentary. He's here with us today to shed some light on the inspiration behind it all. So please welcome to the show, Gregory Hernandez. Gregory, welcome.
Thank you so much for having me, Doctor.
Greg, you've been in it for a little while. You've been doing your thing, I hear. So how did the pandemic impact the timeline of the project that you're working on?
Sure, yeah, it has been a while. This is basically a 5-year project. And the way the pandemic impacted our documentary is it took us an extra year to finish this. So we were hoping to finish around the end of 2020 or early 2021, and now here we are a year later. So basically it took us an extra year.
And then I'm going to rewind it a little bit further. Tell us what you're doing and how you got started in what you're doing.
Sure, yeah. So I'm from the Bronx, born and raised. I graduated from Binghamton University in 2013. And then surely I got into filmmaking shortly afterward. And then since 2014, I've been making short films. I made a web series, but I hadn't made a feature film before. So in 2017, I was inspired to really take on this project and do a documentary.
And what inspired you to do that, to produce the 1.5 million doc?
The lack of bookstores in the Bronx. I was looking for a bookstore for a short film a few years back, and I was really upset that I only saw one at the time in Bay Plaza. And logistically, it was difficult to get all of my crew there. So I was like, wow, in the back of my head, I graduated with a concentration in English, creative writing. I'm a voracious reader. How are there no bookstores or literary spaces near me? So in the back of my mind, I was like, wow, this is terrible. And then of course, Barnes & Noble closed its doors in 2016. And then I started the project the year after.
And some of the biggest interviews that helped push the doc forward, who were they? And what were they?
Of course, Noel Santos really is the hero in the documentary, bringing the only bookstore at the time, the Lit Bar. Of course, we have Stephen Kaufman, who did bring Barnes & Nobles to Bay Plaza in 1999. And of course, we have many other heroes in the film who have brought literary spaces like book fairs and book festivals and little free libraries and playground libraries and more just literary spaces, access to literature. So those are the people.
That's cool. What would you want viewers to learn about the documentary that you just put together?
I would love them to learn about Bronx resilience. I mean, this story really is about resilience in terms of, hey, what happens when you divest from an area, you take away kind of literature, access to literature, and don't really make it accessible for people to actually foster a culture or a love for reading, and how that's going to impact people. So it's really about how people take that and say, hey, you know what? forget those negative stereotypes. We do read in this borough. We'll prove that to you. You don't want to invest in us. We'll invest in ourselves. We'll bring our own bookstores. We'll bring our own literary spaces and programs. It's really about resilience.
Yeah. Greg, where did you start doing the research? Did you do it in and around a certain area, or did you go throughout the 5 boroughs, throughout the tri-state area?
No, I mean, luckily, and this is the thing with this documentary, I didn't really have to go anywhere because I grew up in the poorest congressional district. I reside in the 15th congressional district. I'm in District 7 for, the school district. So growing up here, I saw it all my life, and I essentially visited nonprofits. I went to literary events. I went to my local library. And of course, I went online to do research and searching for articles and statistics. So I didn't have to go far. I didn't have to leave my borough to do this documentary.
Everything is right there.
Yeah.
Just about under one roof, but within reach.
Yeah, essentially, yeah. And that's the thing. Once again, we're in the poorest congressional district in the nation. You look at what's going on. We don't invest in people. You have to say, okay, what happens if we don't invest in people? You'll see that poverty and illiteracy go hand in hand, and the adverse effects are really pervasive.
Now, this documentary is going to be screened. Where's it going to be screened first?
Yes. So we will have our Bronx premiere next month, Saturday, May 21st at the AMC Cinema, located at the Bay Plaza Mall in Co-op City. Tickets are on sale now at 1.5million.com.
There you go. We should put an echo thing out there. Bronx premiere.
Yeah, you're right.
Bronx premiere. And where's that going to be again? Say it one more time.
Yes, it's going to be at the AMC Cinema, located at the Bay Plaza Mall in Co-op City, and that'll be on Saturday, May 21st. Doors open at 6:30 p.m. Get your tickets only at 1.5million.com.
We have a couple of our producers that live right nearby, so they'll probably be like in walking distance. That'd be great.
I would love for Bronx Net to cover the premiere.
You got it. All right. Our producer will check that out, and he'll get back to you on that for sure. So after it leaves there, where does it go from there?
Yes. So there are only 2 movie theaters in the Bronx. We're hopefully going to have one more public screening at the Concourse Multiplex Cinema on 165. And then after that, we're going right into distribution, which means the film festival circuit. That means we're going to submit our film to festivals. And then hopefully next year, a streaming platform will want to pick it up. So that way we can make it accessible to everyone. But really, we want to, in the future, next year, get it into schools, libraries, nonprofits, community centers, get it all around this borough, and then expand it to this.
Any plans for part 2, or you just want to work the heck out of this one right here and then look up and see where you go from here?
Definitely no sequel, but this is a 2-hour movie, and we have essentially a little over 14 hours of footage. So what we want to do in the future, is maybe make this into a series for that really true impact. Being an impact producer, make it into a series and expand on those interviews, because a lot of those interviews, those sound bites, are in the main film, which is what I want, a feature film. But to really make it into a series next year, so that way it can be more episodic content. People can get more information. There's so much that we left on the cutting room floor. So making it a series can truly make it palatable for people to see. And there's just so much more information. There's so much more of a story to tell beyond the one film.
That's great. Where do we go? You have any information on the website that we can look at?
Yeah, so really, you can go to the website, 1.5million.com, click on tickets. You can get your tickets for the premiere. You can also share our trailer. It's on YouTube. And of course, you can share our press package with your press list, and as well as potentially volunteer. We need help in terms of the difficulty with being a filmmaker is you can make a great film, but if nobody knows about it. So really, after the premiere, we got to get this into the festivals, and that's going to be an arduous journey. So we need help with that. And of course, you can follow us on social media at 1.5million_documentary.
Gregory Hernandez doing his thing, got his sleeves rolled up, and he's the Bronx filmmaker and director of 1.5 Mil documentary. All right, I'll say the whole thing, 1.5 million documentary. Thanks, Greg. We appreciate all the work that you're doing. Hey, don't move a muscle, more open coming up next.
for you.
BronxNet TV.
Come learn in your new state-of-the-art studios at Lehman College.
At Mercy College.
And coming soon to the South Bronx in the Hub.
Inspire with your stories, culture, history.
Your Bronx on BronxNet.
Engage with us.
Connect with us at your channels and at BronxNet.tv.
Learn, engage, inspire. BronxNet TV.
From the Bronx
to the world.
BronxNet.
Welcome back. I'm the Dr. Bob Lee. Our next guest is a New York City business consultant and startup advisor. He's here with us today to speak about the work that he and his business partner, Andre Moore, are doing with the organization Dream Basketball and how they are positively impacting the Harlem community. Please welcome to the show, Rich Pierre. Rich, welcome, welcome.
Thank you, Bob. Thank you, Bob. Thank you for that great intro. And you know, I'm blessed and pleased to be on your platform to share what Dream has been doing and give you guys a bit more insight on how we're benefiting the community and the youth out here in New York City.
Well, whoever's doing great things in the community, we want to know about it. But before we get started, how is Andre Moore? How's he doing?
He's in high spirits. You know, he's having he has a death in the family, so he's handling that right now. But you know, like he's very positive about it. He's preparing for the funeral now. And you know, I would say like blessings and well wishes to him and his family and everyone involved. And I look forward to seeing him sometime later this week.
Well, send our condolences out to him and the family for us, please.
Yes, I will.
All right, tell us a little bit about the organization. Tell us about all this big dream thing that you guys dreamt up.
Well, with Dream, it really was Andre that came up with the concept, right? And Andre has been an integral part in the community since before he even had Dream Productions. So he used to, you know, help a lot of the kids in his local area, like get involved with potential career opportunities and connect them to like upcoming artists, so that way they can, you know, get outside of the community that may be, you know, holding them down or marginalizing them. And I think over time he decided, hey, I can take the talents that I have, which typically came from music production and video production, and use that to highlight some of the youth in my immediate area. And that manifested itself in a company called Dream Productions, which was pretty much one of his first endeavors.
Yeah, and you have about 4 elements of Dream Productions, right? What are they?
Yeah. So there's Dream Productions, there's Dream Basketball, there's Dream Room, and there's the City of Dreams. There's some other ancillary IPs that we're working on, but those are the 4 main ones as of this moment. The one that we're really focused on are the City of Dreams and Dream Basketball. So Dream Basketball is pretty much what you guys see us going and working with young kids who have, you know, really good basketball capabilities. And then the City of Dreams is kind of like a highlight of everyone in the city that like plays sports and, you know, does community work and videographers and things of that. So kind of like bringing all the creatives and the talent together into one platform. So those are the 2 main ones we're focused on right now. Dream Productions is the video editing part, and Dream Room is the entertainment arm.
Yeah, when I was boxing and you hit somebody with a good shot, you know, we sent them to that room, the Dream Room.
Yeah, yeah, definitely, yeah. Well, so, at least we don't have to deal with any violence on our end, at least.
Yeah, no, we don't condone violence. It was just everything was a sport, you know, and
for sure.
Conditioned you to move in the right direction. It trained you and disciplined you to do the right thing in life, and those things that you learn, take on and use. But you know, whatever you do, you have to do over and over and over again so you can perfect it. It's like a canned sales talk, and you have somebody called 1,000 shots. Tell us about this individual.
Well, pretty much 1,000 shots. as the name suggests, he's really good at shooting like 3-pointers and long range shots in the game. And you know, I'm gonna have to speak to him of like how he actually came to the point where people were calling him that. But I know like he has an amazing shot. Some of the other people we are like really good at dunking. Some people are, you know, really good at, you know, like crossover game. So I feel like with 100 shots, like his long range game is the best out of the team that we have. So, you know, that's up to debate. And I know a lot of people in the group chat are going to kill me, but that's
the go-to guy for the 3-pointers, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Good. 1,000 shots. You got to shoot them over and over and over again to perfect that shot.
Yeah, and, you know the rule of thumb is the 10,000 hours rule, right? So
yeah.
If you spend 10,000 hours doing anything, you're an expert.
Yeah. I guess you're an expert.
Yeah, as are you.
I've been in it for a while. So listen, he wants to go to the NBA, right? How's that look for him?
It's looking good. I feel like most of the team, like a great percentage of the team have opportunities and are already positioned as notable people in the basketball community. And our role with those situations is to help them understand the business side of things and to give them information on branding and things of that nature. So outside of us doing the community aspects, we also bring in the educational part of giving the players like, okay, you need branding in order to go here. Like taking a lot of the clips that we put together and creating like highlight reels and EPKs for them that it can send out to potential sponsors and things of that nature.
Yeah. And how does, you know, the community would love to get involved in things like that. You know, parents want to get their children involved in programs just to, even if it's just to keep them on the street. But you have a wonderful program. How does others get involved in it?
Well, right now we're actually putting together an AAU program, and that's going to actually work through one of our potential partners. I don't really want to put the name out there, but we're actually working on an AAU program. So you guys can go over to dreambasketball.com and send us an email if you're interested, and we can send you over the deck that shows you how to sign up.
Dreambasketball.com.
Yes.
And who qualifies? Who qualifies?
I can't say that like straight out just by, there's no specific thing where we have, like, you have to show us your skill set, and pretty much we have to judge that based on seeing it. So
and you have to keep a grade point average.
Yes, definitely. But outside of that, when it comes to skills, we'd have to see it. That's not something I can just say like, oh, we want, you know, like an elite player, because like we can't determine that just by, you know, our own merit.
I have a couple of producers that want to join the team. What's the age limit?
Wait, for our main team? our main team, I mean, there's no age limit. It's if one of the producers is really good, you know, they're gonna have to come out there and see like what they can do, because the players that we have, they're elite for a reason. You know, that's why they're being considered for these high profile teams, and you know, like the D leagues and things like that.
So nobody warms up the bench.
No, actually, it's funny. We were actually having a conversation about this last week, and I was saying like, hey, we're gonna have to swap people out. And he's like, no, man, we're not doing that. Like no one's riding the bench. No. What we will do, however, is we will like start creating tiers. We will start creating tiers of teams. So like we were mentioning before the call, we have like a Boston team. We might be putting together like a Philly team, and like a LA team. So those that's how the talent's going to be distributed around.
Hey, Rich, you want to give some shout outs to some people that we didn't mention?
Well, of course, like I want to shout out ARAB. I want to shout out Heck. You know, those are people that are really integral to our team. You know, like Ball is Life, Zay, like everyone that's on the team. I want to shout you guys out. You know, shout out to the whole team. Shout out to everyone that's been helping us. Shout out to Hoop Bus, Venice Beach. Yeah, there's so many people. There's so many people that's been helping us out. The Smith Foundation, Supreme Systems.
All your sponsors.
Yeah, all of the sponsors. You know, Dykeman Basketball, Kenny over there at Dykeman Basketball has been helping us out a lot. You know, just shout out to everyone who's been helping us. All of the videographers involved with us. You know, shot by Carlos. You know, Flash. There's so many people. Like I'll be here for an hour giving out shout outs. Grandmaster Flash is funny, yeah. You know, and speaking of that, you know, rest in peace to DJ K Slake, who passed recently.
Yeah. He's on our sisters Hot 97, WBLS and Hot 97. Yeah, I see him all the time. Every time I go up there, I'm in one studio and he's in the Hot 97 studio, so I can look across. He always comes in, puts his coat on the door, gets ready to do his set, and he tears it up. But give us your website where we can go for more information on this, because you guys are doing some great things in our community.
Yeah, if you guys want more information, go to dreambasketball.com. Also, check us out on Instagram. And the site is under construction right now, but you can definitely email us and connect to us from there. And make sure you send us an email at business@dreambasketball.com if you have any inquiries. We also have a pitch deck that holds all of our sponsor information and things we have executed on in the past. So if you need a copy of that, we'll send you guys out a copy as soon as possible.
There you go. Hey, Rich, thank you so much for sharing in this space and time with us. We appreciate you, man.
Definitely appreciate you guys for having me.
Rich Pierre, Director of Partnerships, iDREAAM Productions and Dream Basketball. Hey, they have 4 segments. Watch them, check them out. They're coming up, they're doing their thing. A lot of people are doing great things in the community, preparing these youngsters to go all the way to the top. Thank you so much, Rich.
Definitely, thank you.
All right, we'll take a break. More Open on the way next. Welcome back, everybody. I'm the Dr. Bob Lee from 107.5 WBLS. Our next guest is a family physician, the CEO of Green Harvest Health, and an author. She joins us to highlight the work that she's doing in medical cannabis, to speak about her book, Courage in Cannabis, an anthology of inspiring stories written by heroes. So please welcome to the show, Dr. Bridget Williams. The doctor is in the house. Welcome.
Thank you, Dr. Bob. I appreciate you. Thank you.
of course, there's a lot of inspiration behind putting the pen to the paper and starting a book. What started you to write Courage in Cannabis?
As soon as I really got into the cannabis space, seeing patients, and I was handing over those medical cards, and for some of these cards I'm handing over, I had big burly men crying. And I was like, there's more to this story. And so in the course of getting to know my patients, I learned how cannabis had helped them, how it was changing their lives, giving them more options, more mobility. But I also learned a lot about the shame and guilt that they experience by using a substance that was considered illegal prior to that moment. And so the stories were really compelling. I actually started writing them down, and had the opportunity to publish those stories a while back. However, I did not feel like they were mine to publish. And so I kind of put a halt on it, and then learned about giving people opportunity to write their own stories, as well as financially benefit from them. So, yeah.
Oh, that's good. Now, you didn't start out as a medical doctor, did you? What made you want to get involved in becoming a medical doctor or physician?
So, yes. So yes, I've been a physician for over, I think, 22 years now. And so I started out in family medicine. I'm from Detroit originally, went to U of M, went to Michigan State. Yeah, there you go. And then found my way down at the Cleveland Clinic to do my residency in family medicine. So I've been in the medical space the entire time. My original passion, my degree from U of M was psychology. So I think I've always been interested in the human experience.
Yeah.
And that was something I really wanted to bring more to medicine. But yeah, my first vocation has always been medicine.
So cannabis as a medicinal drug or thing to use, how did you get on that?
So probably about 15 years ago, I was frustrated. This was early in my career, way too early. I was frustrated with the current medical system. For every drug, there's a pill. If you don't like the pill, we give you another one. You got side effects? We'll actually give you one more, right?
Let me give you one for the side effects.
Exactly, right?
You have a big case, a big purse full of pills.
The bags that people would come into the office with all these pills. And all of this is supposed to happen in quick 15-minute visits. Wow. And that was frustrating to me. I think having the psych background and that it didn't seem like this was something that was helpful for patients to do it in this manner. And my patients were even more frustrated.
Yeah.
So I ended up meeting a patient 15 years ago who I was actually helping get off of medications. And she mentioned cannabis. And to be honest, I'm a Reagan kid, right? Nancy said no. And I thought the brain would fry, the egg. And you remember these commercials from the 80s. I'm from Detroit, during the drug war and saw the worst that could happen to communities. And so I was apprehensive, but I looked it up and was really blown away by the medical information. I followed her in her journey, supporting her using cannabis for her diabetes, as well as she had just recently finished treatment for breast cancer. And I really saw her health and her mentality change in front of my eyes. So that was my first exposure to cannabis and medical cannabis. And so when it became legal in Ohio, I wanted to be a part of it.
There you go. Doctor, what stigmas or misconceptions would you like to clear up about the cannabis and, all of the things associated with it?
Gosh, there's so very many, right? Number one, there is viable, helpful research in this area, and it's growing every day. The more we get closer to legalization, the more we can have established institutions do more research, which will make it even a stronger case to use this medicinally. I think that's one. Number two, which probably comes up the most with patients, is that you don't have to use cannabis and be high. That CBD
they take that part out of it, right? It was your THC. They take THC out of it.
No, even with THC, if CBD and THC are used equally, CBD will block the euphoric effect. So I've had patients that I've been treating for the last 4 years, and they've never been high one day, ever. So I think this is, and I think the assumption is that everyone's just walking around high all day, and that's not the case. Yeah.
And it smells the same. It does the same thing except for the high part.
Well, it's funny about the smell. So that's an interesting, because, as I grew up where weed was stinky, right?
Yeah.
And
they call it, there was one that was called the skunk smell. Oh,
right, it's stinky. Yeah, it has that scent. And what I think I've discovered over time, as well as what I've realized, is that we think roses smell good because we've been conditioned to believe that, right? And so when you burn it, without a doubt, if you burn, even roses sometimes, but when you burn cannabis flower, that's why you get the skunky smell.
Yeah.
But if you just smell it before it's burnt, it actually has beautiful fragrance of lemon and pepper. And, that is, it's also the most medicinal part of the plant. We talk about CBD, we talk about THC, but it is those essential oils that create that scent, the terpenes of the cannabis plant, that actually have a great deal of the medicinal value. So yeah, when you burn it, you get the skunky smell, but if you just smell the flower by itself, it's not so bad.
Doug, how is cannabis saving lives or improving the quality of lives in our community?
Absolutely. So we now have an option medicinally for patients that for many had run out of all options. A great deal of my patients use cannabis for pain, anxiety, sleep, as well as, many other conditions. But for many patients, they have no other option, that they have had liver damage, kidney damage, stomach issues related to their medications, and there really aren't other options. So cannabis gives an option without causing damage. And so people that were living, so much of our community lives in pain.
Yeah.
Every day. And they don't, and they're outside of opioids, they really have no other option to treat it. Cannabis has allowed people to live a much more functional and active life without causing damage or addiction.
Another question, what is next for Courage and Cannabis and other projects that you may be working on? You didn't tell us about. Yeah.
Right. So yeah, Courage and Cannabis is my passion project, but I run my own medical cannabis company. I have 2 CBD lines that I am running, as well as I'm a life coach, and I teach and write curriculum for the Cleveland School of Cannabis. So that's, a whole nother side, but the book was something, yes.
No, go ahead. Talk about that book.
Yeah, but the book, which has 18 authors that share how cannabis has changed their lives, is very much a model like Chicken Soup for the Soul. So we'll be looking. Yes, absolutely. And honestly, the stories are inspirational, they're educational. We give them to churches and parents and legislators to help them understand a different side of what cannabis can do and CBD can do.
Yeah. And Doctor, the big thing is cannabis coaching. There are big budgets out in different states.
Absolutely, absolutely. And actually, I'm doing quite a bit of work in New York.
That's where one of the big budgets are.
Yeah, I'm doing a lot of educational opportunities in New York as you guys are growing out on your end. But we will be looking for new authors in the fall. And so if you are someone that has a cannabis story and would like to, and it's not just submit your story and I publish it, it's an experience. We create a cohort of people that network together, that we do interviews together. So there ends up being a really amazing group of people that share their stories in the book.
Now when you say share, I'm sorry to cut in, right? But when you say share your story about using cannabis before the medicinal thing came out?
Well, the book is made up of everything under the sun. We're doctors and lawyers, parents that had to give cannabis to their children for seizures or cancer, entrepreneurs that share their story, activists. We have legacy people as well.
You got to come back. We got to talk. We got to go deeper into this. We got to go deeper into this. But I like what you're doing. Thank you for putting this all out. Thank you for sharing this information. Where can we go for more? Is it on a website?
Absolutely. Go to CourageIncannabis.com. You can see all the authors. And if you would like to leave a message at the bottom, you can share opportunity to be in the next book.
There you go. The Cannabis Coach.
Yeah.
Dr. Bridget Williams, MD, family physician, author, and CEO, Green Harvest Health. We thank you. We appreciate you.
Absolutely. Thank you. I appreciate you.
All right. Bobby C's up next. He has the latest in the world of sports. Don't move. Here we go.
When taking public transportation, don't touch your phone. Carry hand sanitizer and use it immediately upon leaving the bus or train. Avoid touching your face. If someone is coughing or sneezing, move away. Wash your hands with soap and water as soon as possible. Limit contact with poles. If possible, avoid rush hour. Don't eat or drink on public transportation. Keep your bag off the floor or other surfaces. Avoid directly touching turnstiles. Stay up to date with the latest from your local health department and CDC.
Last time on the show, we got a chance to talk about football and life with two-time Super Bowl winner Mark Rippon. Here's part 2 of that interview.
The fans at home, I have to know about all the great things in terms of your playing career. I mean, the first Canadian quarterback to start in the NFL and then win a Super Bowl in the NFL, two-time Pro Bowler, 2 Super Bowl rings. And I think of that time, especially someone growing up here in New York, hoping that the Giants would win some more Super Bowls. And that Redskin team was incredible. Playoff appearances in 90, 91, 92, and that magical run in 91, winning 17 of 19 games. What is the best highlight of that portion of your playing career? Because it had to be some time.
Well, the best highlight is that picture of our team picture of the characters and the guys that, I sweated with in the off season, that committed to a goal, and followed, our leader, Joe Gibbs, and our coaching staff, and individually and collectively as a group trying to make the best possible outcome that we could. So we set our mind, in that 91 season, and we had a very good mindset going in, and almost to a point where our coaching staff used to challenge us with game plans, figuring, we knew we had a bunch of smart players and good players, but we didn't know how smart and good these guys were. And we challenged them to a point where they went out and did everything and then beyond. And as coaches, we could kind of just like, hey, this is going to be a good year, and started out, being here in Dallas, we started out 11-0 that season in 91, and then Dallas came in and beat us at home, which actually was probably a good thing for us, because then you got to reset your mind and not live off laurels of what you had done, and to know that, hey, we're not that good. We need to work hard and we need to get better in order to attain a Lombardi trophy. So I think it kind of reset our mind, and our focus to what we had to do. And in doing so, we pretty much ran the tables. We kind of checked it down against Philadelphia the last game of the season after we were up like 7 at halftime, and then kind of ran the tables in the playoffs and through the Super Bowl, and was probably one of the most dominant teams in the history of the NFL. That team and those characters of guys and our defense and our, whether it be Richie Pettibone leading the defensive crew, Joe Gibbs and leading the offensive group. It's just a fun group to be around. So it's not really one game or anything. It's just that picture of the characters or all the guys. And I can look at that picture and tell a story for each and every one of them. And, and to be named MVP means you have to play well when it matters the most. But technically there's 5 or 6 other guys that were very deserving of that. And as a group, you could easily have given it to quite a few of us. But, I'm blessed to have had that. And it did open a bunch of doors for me later on in life. But more importantly, it was just a group of guys that had a goal in mind, and we set our jaws to getting that accomplished. And it was a magical year. So.
Well, Mark, I idolized you growing up, and actually I had this game for the Game Boy. I'm showing my age here, the NFL Quarterback Club, and you were one, of course, of the elite quarterbacks in the league, and I would play Mark Rippon at that time on the Game Boy, and you were definitely the best at throwing the deep pass.
That son of a gun. Yeah, that was, that Game Boy, and then it got to the Madden, and I was so sad to see John pass this year. I mean, what I find, Bobby, is amazing is that everybody that knew John Madden, there wasn't a single one that had a bad word to say about the man. I mean, that's respect. When you look at sports and what a guy has done in sports, especially being a coach, an entertainer and commentator, and to not have one bad word said about you, that says a lot. It speaks volumes for John and his legacy that he left. And, if a lot of us can just live 1/10 of that legacy, and, we're going to be all right. So.
And as a guy that's also a big racing fan, I'm not sure if the fans at home knew this, but you were somebody that at one point owned a NASCAR team.
You did your homework, didn't you? Yeah. Chad Little was my driver. And you know how the saying is, how do you make a small fortune in racing? You start with a large. Is that it? Something like that? The good news is I didn't have to do any of the financial stuff. I just had to sit down with the John Deere people and solicit them and get them to buy into what we're doing. And we are so blessed to have us. I mean, you think about it, having a sponsor, and John Deere's your sponsor. How good's that? That's about as all-American as it comes. And we won a couple years that first year in Busch Grand National and with Chad, and that was pretty exciting to win not the Daytona 500, but the race that Saturday before. And then we won twice in like Hickory, and I mean, we're off to a great start. And then things kind of went their own way. And Chad's doing very well now. He's still with NASCAR, but he's an old high school buddy of mine. Went to college at Washington State, and of course, everyone thinks it's, you got in because of Joe Gibbs, and literally, no, I did not. It was my buddy Chad Little, and that's how we kind of got started. But man, Joe Gibbs has just done amazing things. It's like he's got a golden horseshoe. Whatever he touches turns out pretty doggone good. And he's got a great racing team. He's a wonderful, wonderful human being. One of my, heroes, just from the fact that I can't believe a coach that could get mad and upset at a team and not say one curse word, but you knew that he was upset at you, Golly geez, holy smoke, son of a gun, you guys got to play better football. I go, that's amazing. He didn't say one swear word, and we're fearful of our lives, So
well, maybe that was the recipe for success: great players and then not swearing.
Absolutely. Well, I mean, that was his way, and we would follow him off the cliff, and that's what we thought of our coach, and just amazing man, and obviously he had his son JD, probably one of the premier guys coming up in racing, passed away with early onset Alzheimer's. And my prayers to the Gibbs family, to have to go through that, their son 47 48 years old, and prime of his life with a beautiful family. And that's why we got to love our loved ones as much as we can, Bobby.
100%. Well, Mark, I appreciate you taking the time. One final question in closing here. Have you ever been to the Bronx? And if you haven't been, when you come, I'd love to take you around. I mean, if you've ever come, has there been any place that you've checked out in the Bronx ever in your life?
Well, I mean, Yankee Stadium back in the day, you know, that was about the only place I've been. I mean, I think I actually probably went into a pizza place there once or twice, you know, and just kind of walking through and hanging out. But Brooklyn, the Bronx, I mean, that whole area is just, I mean, that's our history, you know, and a big part of our history and our athletes and our entertainers and in our world comes right from the Bronx and Manhattan there. So pretty
well,
cool.
We're definitely known for the Yankees and pizza, and you're known for being one of the greatest quarterbacks of all time. Mark Rippon, thanks so much for taking
I'd love you to take you out for a piece of pizza. I want to be like David Portnoy, you know, where you grab the pizza and look at it and goes, it's got a pretty good, I don't know what he calls it, pretty good on it. Let me taste it. Yeah,
we could definitely make that happen, Mark. And maybe sometime you could teach me the game of golf because I'm not very good at it.
We'll have to do that. There's a lot of, I mean, first and foremost, that Long Island area is unbelievable. Got so many good golf courses at Manhattan, up north, up there, Wingfoot and Rye and Westchester, and then down to Baltusrol. I mean, there's more golf in that freaking area than Heinz got pickles. You know, it's a mecca for golf and some of the best golf courses in the world. Right there in the greater New York area. So
appreciate the time, Mark. Always great to catch up, and
Cheers.
Best of luck in the tournament.
Thanks, Bobby.
Welcome back, everybody. I'm the Dr. Bob Lee for 107.5 WBLS. You are watching Open. Thank you so much for being a part of it all. Our last guest, our project manager for the Davey Tree Company and a certified arborist and executive director of the Woodlawn Cemetery and Conservancy. They join us to speak about an important tree restoration project that they are working on. So please welcome to the show, Herb, Landmaan, and Meg Ventrudo. Megan, it's so nice to see you again. How are you?
Bob, thanks for having us on your show.
Good. You have some friends with you today.
I do. I'm sitting here with Herb Landmaan, a certified arborist of the Davey Tree Company.
And I hear that you're doing some wonderful things. You have the Davey Tree Company people there with you, and Herb is going to tell us more.
Yes, Herb's going to tell us about our American chestnut restoration that we have going on here at Woodlawn Cemetery.
Yes, last year we started to grow 5 Native American chestnuts from seed. And we are currently working with the American Chestnut Foundation in association with the State University of New York College of Environmental Science and Forestry to do a restoration project to bring back the American chestnuts into the area.
Yeah, is there something happening with the American chestnut tree? Was there a bug or something that got into it and started to?
Yes, yeah, exactly. And actually back in around the 1900s, a fungal blight came in from Asia on some imported Asian chestnut trees, which spread to the American chestnut trees. And actually the fungus was first found at the Bronx Zoo. And that's where the blight started. Now, at that time, American chestnuts were some of the most prevalent and common trees, both in the forest and throughout urban areas back in the early 1900s. 1 out of every 4 trees was an American chestnut tree. And that blight came through, and between the early 1900s and the 1950s, it virtually wiped out the entire a population of American chestnuts.
Yeah, we still see some of them in Westchester County. There's some of the chestnut trees that are still thriving and living.
And I would say that those are are probably the Asian chestnut trees, which were brought in afterwards. The American chestnut trees, the only really remaining American chestnuts are in like woods areas where sprouts will start growing out of the stump, and they'll live for a number of years, maybe 4 to 10 or 12 years, but then the fungal blight will eventually get to those sprouts and kill them.
How do we protect the trees that we're planting now?
Right now, I just have the native American chestnut trees. And what's happening at SUNY ESF is that they are developing a genetically modified American chestnut tree by taking a couple of genes from a non-American species plant. I believe it's a wheat plant, and combining that in the seed, and those genes are blight resistant. And so they've been working on this actually since 1989.
So it's a natural spray. You don't have to spray it. It's within.
Yes.
It's growing seed already.
Yep. So SUNY ESF has been working on this project, and of course it's taken over 30 years, but they finally have found a American chestnut transgenic tree that will be able to survive well. And right now we are waiting for USDA approval, which they're expecting in 2023. So the idea is that once this transgenic American chestnut is available, I'll get one to plant at the Woodlawn Cemetery. And then hopefully that tree will cross-pollinate with my native American chestnuts to develop a seed that is blight resistant.
There you go. Now, are these, you see chestnuts in the store, are these edible chestnuts?
Again, those are most likely Asian chestnuts. And not American.
How important is this American chestnut tree to our ecosystem?
Well, and actually that's a great question. So between 1900 and the early 1950s, they feel that they lost an estimated 4 billion trees. Cool. So it was really a devastating effect throughout all the towns. The American chestnut had a large range. They were grown from Maine all the way down to Georgia, and then all the way out to like Mississippi and Michigan. So it was a very prevalent tree, throughout the early 1900s. So it was a devastating blight.
Oh, Megan, how did you come together with this partnership?
Well, Woodlawn is a level 2 arboretum, and we're always looking to increase the tree count that we have here. We have about 492 distinct species of trees on the Woodlawn Cemetery. And so, of course, this American Chestnut Project adds to our tree count, also adds to our urban forest, and creating a beautiful green space here at Woodlawn for our lot owners, our neighbors, our school students to enjoy.
And you have a certified arborist, and the name just fits it. Dave, I mean Herb Landmaan. The name just blends right into everything that's going on.
That's it.
Yeah. So what's the next step, Herb? Where do we go from here?
Okay, so I am growing these Native American chestnuts, and hopefully in the summer of 2023, we will get one of the transgenic chestnut trees from SUNY ESF, and along with the American Chestnut Foundation, we'll plant this on site. And my Native American chestnuts, since they've only been in the ground 2 years this year, they may have to grow like 3 or 4 more years before they're able to flower and be cross-pollinated. But the hope is that they'll stay alive long enough to develop flowers, and then with this transgenic American chestnut, the American transgenic chestnut pollen will pollinate the female flowers on the American chestnut native trees that have planted, and hence get a nut that's viable and will be hopefully resistant to the blight.
That's going to be a special moment after 4 years. You know, you develop the flowering and then they're able to cross-pollinate. That's a special moment. We should have a large gathering.
Yeah, it's it is a really neat project. So I'll be we're working away at it. Yeah.
Megan, this lines up with the work that Woodlawn's preservation training program and landscaping restoration program has going on.
Absolutely, it really does, and it's such an important part of our preservation, our restoration, and our environmental education. And the fact that our young people in the landscape program will be able to see this happening, it just creates greater stewards of the environment when they're here on site.
Thank you so much. All right. I know you probably have a website we can go, and you should put one of those cameras there, the slow motion camera. To watch it.
Well, we want to make sure the squirrels don't eat our chestnuts, so we might need a camera for that.
Oh yeah,
right?
that's another thing.
Well, and the deer cam too, because we've had a deer on site here for 3 or 4 months.
Yeah.
So,
oh, they eat everything. They know.
I know.
They do.
They certainly do.
So do you put a fence around it or something? How do you keep the squirrels and deer out?
I do have each tree fenced off.
Yeah. Wow. Yeah. Well, good luck with everything, and we'll be watching.
Fantastic. Thank you. And we hope to see you out here at Woodlawn soon.
Oh, we would love it. Give us the website where we can go and maybe follow this project.
Sure thing. Our website is www.woodlawn.org. And also check us out on social media, and we'll have updates on our social media pages as well. And usually those posts are connected right to our website. We have a couple of tree blogs on our website, so we'll probably put up a tree blog now because there's a lot of interest around the American chestnut. So we'll add a blog on our chestnuts, and come visit. They're the little trees that are protected in a safe space, and we're going to watch them grow and contribute to our tree count here at Woodlawn.
Herbert, Meg, we thank you so much. We appreciate you. Thanks for sharing.
Thank you very much.
Thank you for having us as always.
All right. That's about all. Unfortunately, that's about all the time we have for today's show. We want to thank our guests, you for joining us, and our viewers for tuning in and checking it all out. You can follow us, BronxNet TV, for continued coverage. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Thank you for letting us share in this space and time with you. Darren Jaime has the Wednesday edition of Open. Always remember this: what you are is God's gift to you, and what you make of yourself is your gift to God. So choose your choice and let your choice control the chooser. I'm the Dr. Bob Lee. I'll see you over 107.5 WVLS. I love you all. Peace.